You may think DNA profiling is just something you see on TV when detectives try to solve crimes. However, cattlemen across the country are using DNA to make selection and breeding decisions. Reporter Brian Baxter heads to Graham Farms in Patterson, Missouri, to learn how the most powerful and comprehensive genetic profile can help ranchers make informed livestock selections.
Many producers know their whole life they want to own cattle, but Matt Graham had a very different way of ending up in the ranching industry.
I went to college for aerospace engineering, got a bachelor's and master's in that. We came home and stayed here on the farm. I didn't want to raise a family in the city, and that's the only place where aerospace engineering's work. So stayed here and started a family.
Matt and his dad Rick now run Graham Farms in Patterson, Missouri, a cow-calf operation that Matt's grandfather started back in 1965.
We have about 700 acres of row crop, corn and soybeans, about 400 mama cows that we feed out their calves, complete from calving to carcass, basically.
For years, cattlemen like Matt's grandfather have sold and purchased livestock based on their appearance alone. But today, Igenity is helping producers make more confident decisions.
I've always been a numbers kind of guy, and that's where Igenity came in. Is my grandfather always looked at the cows and the bulls and said, I want that one, that's the best one, and I like to see a little deeper and see what kind of numbers they got to go along with their looks.
Cattle can look very similarly from the outside, but their genetic potential is very different. And so frequently producers will buy an animal based on looks and realize once they've got that animal home and producing babies that those cattle don't produce to the potential that they thought they would.
Igenity offers a comprehensive DNA profile that helps producers dig deeper by looking at 15 economically important traits as well as 7 genetic abnormalities.
It allows producers to evaluate animals at an early age, especially traits that are either hard to measure or very expensive to measure. So Igenity allows them to take an inside look and evaluate those animals and allows them to make those important decisions on replacement heifer selection and as well as maybe bull herd sire purchases.
Their DNA profile now has something for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're selling feeder calves or backgrounders or carcass on the rail. They have something if you pinpoint what you want to sell and then use the profile to go towards that goal, it would pay in the long run. The number one thing, just the added information that you wouldn't know if you didn't have the test run.
Genetics is everything. And so the Igenity profile allows them to make better decisions, more confident decisions, and doing the best in terms of the genetic side of the equation for that operation.
The range of traits analyzed in the Igenity profile is unmatched by any other DNA provider in the beef industry.
We believe we are the leaders in terms of DNA technology. We have the most comprehensive internal and external validation process. And so customers should be assured that the Igenity profile information is comprehensive, it's accurate, and it'll allow them to utilize this information and make better decisions for their operation.
The maternal and reproductive traits are important to take into consideration because these traits directly affect the replacement heifer's profitability down the line.
Probably one of our greatest tools is in the ability to select for replacement heifers through the use especially of our stayability, maternal cavities, and heifer pregnancy traits.
With DNA and with our Igenity profile, we have very comprehensive trait analyses when it comes to those particular maternal traits. So a producer can feel very confident when he's selecting individuals based on their Igenity profile results for heifer pregnancy rate or stayability, that he is propelling his operation forward in terms of doing a better job in their reproductive ability and so forth. So DNA and the Igenity profile really fits well for a producer that's trying to improve some of his reproductive traits, such as heifer pregnancy rate or stayability.
Choosing good replacement heifers and herd sires is critical to the longevity of the herd and ultimately the success of the operation.
Producers can't afford to select the wrong replacement heifers, the wrong herd sires, just because the kind of detrimental effect it can have on our operation. It just sets the herd back a number of years just because of the lost time, as well as cows that are in your herd already that are maybe producing calves that really aren't up to average for that particular herd.
Matt uses the genetic profile on his bulls to help increase the success of his herd and his bottom dollar.
It's definitely a good value, especially on the bull side, because you're breeding that bull to 50, 75 cows a year. And if you're not using the best bull for your money, then you're basically throwing money down the drain. So with the profile, you can get more bang out of your buck.
It could take years to actually determine a bull's potential for his daughters to stay in the herd for several years. But by using that Igenity profile, we can, as a young bull, determine whether his daughters are going to have that genetic potential.
After several years of utilizing Igenity on his operation, Matt and his dad have seen a tremendous change in their cattle and overall profit.
It's definitely been a good decision, and we've progressed since we've started it. We had maybe 6 or 8 primes a year, choice, select mostly. Now we're looking at 6 or 8 selects a year, and last year we hit almost 40% prime. We're seeing a good return on investment. It's been well worth it.
The cattle has improved quite a bit. I'd say they'll grade better on the yield of finished product, and they'll just outgrade a lot of the other stock around.
Well, it helps with marketability in our cattle because it's different than most other ranchers. We market carcasses, so our marketability, if our buyers know that our cattle are going to grade prime, you know, they're willing to come out and pay extra for that.
While it might be easy to see the benefits of a DNA profile, it's even easier to collect the samples for it.
The thing about Igenity profile and with the sample collection, it can be done anytime. And really, as we look at it, anytime the animal is going through the chute is really a convenient time for the producer to collect a sample. We accept a number of different sample types with our Igenity profile. Those sample types include, with our Igenity tissue collector tag, hair, semen, as well as blood samples.
The tissue samples, it's an ear tag. Whenever the calf's running through the chute, you just throw it in the mail, send it off to Igenity, and about a month later they send your numbers back, and you know if you want to keep those or which ones you don't want to keep out of those. It's a simple process.
The profile information producers receive is only beneficial if they understand it. With that in mind, the Igenity representatives are dedicated to helping them learn how to apply the data on their operations.
When it started out, you know, a lot of it was over my head, and I had questions about it, had wanted to research and learn, so we just weren't throwing money down the drain. Then Gary started, and he's come around several times asking if we had any questions.
I work one-on-one with our producers to actually look at the results. We compare the values, look at the numbers, and I also show them how to use the software tools that are available to them.
We can then analyze and look at all the results and rank the animals from top to bottom based on the traits that are most important to him, as well as which traits are more important than the others.
A comprehensive genetic profile might seem complicated, but Gary says it's actually very simple to get started.
There are 4 steps to get started with Igenity. First of all, establish your herd goals. Second of all, determine which animals you want to profile. I would recommend heifers as well as your herd sires. Next, you need to determine when you want to work those calves to collect the samples. And finally, order your kits.
While DNA profiling is very important to the success of Graham Farms, Matt and his dad say there's one thing even more important: family.
I say best thing farming is being with family, and they can spend quality time with you while you're at the office.
It'd be a dull life if you didn't have your grandkids. And then it's good to work with them and have them grow up with you. And they learn the aspects and stuff in a better lifestyle.
Reporting from Graham Farms in Patterson, Missouri, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Is a genetic profile something you believe might benefit your operation? If so, you can find all the information you need about Igenity and their DNA profiling system at cattlemantocattleman.org.